Hi, James here, one of the PennyBooks co-founders. This is a quick video to show you how to create a sales invoice in Xero.
So we're in the dashboard view now. We're going to go to business invoices. So we're going to go to new invoice. And then I'm actually going to fill one out and raise it so you can see the process from end to end. So in the toolbox, we type your customer name. So customer A limited, let's say. If your customer's already saved as a contact, so you've already raised them an invoice, or you've added them as a contact, then they will pop up here. If not, you can add them as a new contact. The date, that would default to today's date. If you were raising an invoice for a few days ago, you could, and you need that date to be right, you could adjust that. Due date, you have to add a due date. So let's say we'll put in a month. Invoice number, so this will increase sequentially. So you don't need to touch this as long as you're happy with the numbers that are there. Every time you raise a new invoice, the number will jump up one. Reference, this is actually a free text box, so you don't need to add anything here. If you were invoicing against a PO, for example, you could add that. So let's say PO 35. Branding, so this is where you get to choose your invoice template. So if you've got multiple invoice templates, you can flip between them here. So we'll go for standard. Okay. So description, you need to add a description. And I think if we take a step back, the way Xero is set up, you can make this invoice as simple or as complicated as you like. If I show you almost the simplest invoice you could raise, fees for project A. Let's say you're just trying to invoice a fixed amount for an agreed project. So quantity, you have to add a quantity, but we want to invoice something. We want to invoice £2,000. So in the unit price, we add the amount we want to invoice. Okay, discount. You can add a discount if you like. So if you wanted to give a 10% discount and actually show it on the invoice, you could. That's an option. Account. So this should default to 200, which is the standard Xero sales account. Then tax rate. So if you're not VAT registered, you would hit no VAT, and VAT won't be included. If you are VAT registered, and assuming that you need to charge 20% VAT on your invoices, you would pick 20% VAT. And then we would want to select tax exclusive. So that amount, because that amount is the tax exclusively amount, then it's going to add VAT onto that to get your gross invoice amount. So that's as simple as invoice as you can raise in Xero. You can, if you need more detail on here, you can add as many rows as you like. You could say fees for week 1, let's say, and you're charging a daily rate, and you've worked 5 days at £300. So that would calculate that. And you can, as I say, you can add as many rows as you like. Once you're happy with your invoice, you can preview it here. I'll give you a quick snapshot. So hopefully your invoice template's all right and all these details will come through. And once you're happy with it, you can approve it. That will actually raise it in the accounting software. So it will recognize sales, and it will recognize a receivable position with customer A limited. So once you've raised that invoice, you can then actually send it straight to your customer or your client straight from Xero. So if you go into email, you would just type there the email contacts of the person at the customer who you want to send it to. It comes from me. You can actually, in settings, you can tailor these email templates. So you can make this appear exactly how you want it, or you have the option to just edit it here. There we go. There's also a few helpful options at the bottom. I usually select to add a PDF attachment. The default option is just a link where they can download the invoice. And then you can also send yourself a copy as well, which is useful just to know that the email is actually gone. And then you hit send, and that will send it. If you don't want to send your invoice through Xero directly, you can also print a PDF, which will just give you a PDF copy of the invoice. And that's it. That's how to raise an invoice.